Hello, my name is Roderick Sims, also known as the Business Reality Coach, and welcome to this session of the annual Entrepreneurship Mindset Virtual Summit. It's really sponsored by the Ready, Set, Launch Mastermind community. In today's session, I have the pleasure of interviewing a business professional that supports small business owners and entrepreneurs from the insurance industry, Mr. Charles Cathey Jr. Charles and I go way back, have a lot of things in common, especially we made the very wise decision of joining the same fraternity. That's a whole different conversation, which we can get into a little bit further. But definitely, I'm honored to have this gentleman joining us today to really share great information that will help all entrepreneurs and small business owners in our community as we continue to advance and develop our businesses. So, what I'm going to do instead of making stuff up about Charles, I'm going to give him the opportunity to introduce himself before we jump into the interview. So, Mr. Charles Cathey, tell us a little bit about yourself, sir.
Excellent. First and foremost, thank you. I'm honored. I'm humbled by the opportunity to visit with you today and share with our virtual audience. As you said, my name is Charles Cathey Jr. I am a local State Farm insurance agent. I'm located at 1652 East 87th Street. This is my 35th year with State Farm. We have an experienced team that specializes in customizing all insurance, property, casualty, auto, home, life, small business, investments, Quicken Loans. You feel free to connect with us on all social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter and LinkedIn. My passion is to teach, to educate, and protect clients. God forbid your worst day happens, you have the proper insurance to avoid any gaps in the coverages that you need. So thank you again. And again, I'm honored by the invitation.
Hey, Charles, well, I definitely appreciate you being here, man. Except for we've had a situation where I had some insurance on the personal side, and you were there for me. You and your team helped me out tremendously, which I'll always be grateful for. But with that being said, man, I want to definitely jump into today's interview. Obviously, the Ready, Set, Launch Mastermind community is really about entrepreneurs and small business owners collaborating together to learn more about it, support each other, really just around building a community for each other. But this summit also is to try to educate each other and share information and provide additional foundational, just the basic foundational information that all entrepreneurs should know, especially when we have experts in our community. And so since you're an expert in the community, we definitely want to get more into that side. But before, obviously, because you're part of the community, you're an entrepreneur yourself. As you mentioned, you're a small business owner and been in business for a while. So I want to just get into that part of it from the entrepreneurial mindset piece of just asking you, sir. So when did you know that entrepreneurship was going to be the right path for you?
Actually, I'll start back to my childhood. I wasn't aware of it, but my parents were planting the seed. My mom and my dad would always say, hey, get your education, get a good job, but always prepare and educate yourself to have a plan B. I was also fortunate. I worked for State Farm in operations and in management for 21 years. And I took training, I educated myself, I got my designation, and I ran a team that was handling about $20 million in claims on an annual basis. And I thought, if I can handle 20 million for someone else, I can bet on myself. But the huge blessing for me is I had a circle of family and friends, and Roderick, you were part of that group of family and friends, that we had the entrepreneurial mindset, and we talked about it, and we one by one we launched, and we were there as a support and as a village. So I'd say early, middle of my career, my goal was to work 20 years in corporate America and then spend the final 20 as a small business owner.
All right, fantastic. Charles, man, that's great. And man, it seems like just yesterday you opened up your agency. How long has your agency been up and running and you've been a full-time entrepreneur, sir?
Full-time, 14 and a half years. It'll be 15 years, July 1st of 2022.
Right. So, hey, you're not new, right? So we're not talking to anybody that's just new to the game, folks. This guy's been out there been through the highs and lows, the ups and downs, and still out here making it happen. So, man, Charles, congratulations for you, man, to be in the business 15 years. Hey, being in business a year or two is a huge accomplishment, but to be in 15, to be in it 15 years and still growing and expanding and being out here, being an advocate for other entrepreneurs is fantastic, man. So truly appreciate you, man, and so proud of you and your success and how you and your team are expanding and helping individuals and entrepreneurs. So truly appreciate you. So, hey, man, had some questions that we decided that we would want to make sure the community was aware of to get answered for them. So we'll jump into the first one here. And that first question was, what are the most common questions you get from small business owners, Charles?
The most common question is the why. Why did you leave your corporate job, your company car, your pension, and your consistent paycheck to strike out on your own? And I really shared with them that I wanted to bet on myself. I wanted to establish some level of financial independence.
Okay.
I also wanted to leave a legacy for my children who are now adults to show them what was possible if you dream. So that blueprint that I was setting was not only for myself, but it was for my family to follow in my footsteps, hopefully one day.
All right, that's great, man. I mean, legacy is definitely something that I definitely believe is important. As I talk to entrepreneurs all the time, I think we've had this conversation. I usually find out that it's either they're doing it for the money, they're doing it for impact, or they're doing it for a lifestyle. And that legacy piece definitely falls into impact. So that's not something that's surprising at all. And it's great to hear that, that's something that you're really focused on as far as, helping, people out and even sharing that your message with other entrepreneurs. From the technical side of the business, what is the biggest tip you would give an aspiring entrepreneur about protecting themselves and their businesses, Charles?
From the technical side is, congratulations, you're self-employed. We self-insure every aspect of our business. We self-insure our office, whether you rent your office, whether you own your location. We self-insure all of our business personal property, computers, desks, chairs, etc. If we have a business vehicle, we insure it. Business liability, God forbid somebody sues us, we want to have protection for that. Workers' comp, employment practices liability in these difficult days is very important, and errors and omissions. Those are the asset protection policies that I recommend. From a legacy planning point of view, one of the most important things that we do is life insurance. We protect our clients in some cases with group life insurance when they want to offer a more robust compensation package for their employees. We do the group life. We also have disability insurance products because as entrepreneurs, if we don't work, we don't get paid. So God forbid you're sick or you are injured and you can't work. What is your plan to sustain your business during that period of disability? And then finally, we do some investment planning for retirement with our small business owners. And we just try to grow with the client. So whether you are a startup, whether you are in your growth mode, whether you're a mature business owner like myself, or you are in your sunset where you're looking to retire, we can customize insurance to meet the needs of all of those phases.
Fantastic. Well, hey, man, it sounds like whatever an entrepreneur or small business owner needs from a protection risk management standpoint, you guys definitely can support and help them out. What do you, when you think about your experience as an entrepreneur, what makes you the most comfortable as far as what you've done to ensure your business to help you sleep well at night?
That's a very good question. It evolves. So what I'll say is risk and reward analysis. So I am constantly looking to improve. I'm constantly looking to have the best marketing plan. I'm looking to be efficient. So do I keep it in-house? Do I have a vendor who's an expert in human resources to help me grow? Um, there is a huge part of bookkeeping and financial management. Of course, during the pandemic, for anybody applying for a PPE loan, if you didn't have your financial house in order and your payroll documents in order, that was an arduous process. So automated systems.
Okay.
So I look for automated systems. So I just pushed a couple of buttons on my payroll and uploaded my expenses. So, and then I look to help others. So
Okay.
as I analyze, my success is not only about me, it's about my employees, their families. If we help enough people achieve success, then we will be rewarded with whatever level of success. And then work-life balance is also important.
Great. Um, those are all great things, and thanks for sharing that with us, Charles. Um, since I know you insured other in business owners who obviously were entrepreneurs first and became business owners. Do you have an example or a time you can share with us you actually helped one of your business owner clients out of a situation with that they needed from an insurance standpoint?
Oh, absolutely. I insured a barbershop, and one of my goals is to do insurance and financial reviews. So every year or two, we meet face to face or meet virtually to reassess, um, is this current insurance policy still working for you? Are there any gaps in your plan? Any life events that have changed? Have you expanded your business to multiple locations? We want to be proactive. We don't want to be reactive, because when your worst day happens, it's too late. So as fate would have it, a car hit the business. So I got a phone call. I jumped in my car. I grabbed my checkbook. I drove out, and I was there with the board up company, ready to offer a temporary advance to help them with any expenses. He didn't need it. I coached him on the claim process. We connected him with claims, and within a 3-week period, the building repairs were done. The personal property, chairs, etc., desks that were damaged were replaced. We also were able to work on the loss of business income during the period when the business was not operational and open. So we helped him recover. And that tragedy, thank God nobody was hurt. That tragedy was resolved quickly because of the proper insurance and the proper planning.
Oh, that's a great example, sir. So you're for clarity, you're telling me this guy's barbershop was just sitting there on the street minding its own business, not doing anything, just sitting there, right? And then all of a sudden, this car decides to run into it.
Absolutely. You know how you have a commercial strip with the parking blocks,
Yes.
and I think the driver inadvertently hit the gas as opposed to the brake. Again, we were able to avoid a major crisis because the car stopped before any patrons and or employees were injured.
Well, that's fantastic. Hey, it was one thing that you touch bases on that I'm familiar with, but I think a lot of small business owners aren't aware of, and that was called income replacement. Can you talk a little bit more, Charles, about how that actually works for small business owners when they are no longer able to operate their businesses due to an insurance, or a loss?
Absolutely. Income is the lifeblood of any business. And for most small businesses, we have our emergency fund or cash reserves, but that covers you know, 3 to 6 months. But for anything large, like a covered loss, if my agency has a frozen pipe and I'm closed for 6 months, I'm in trouble. But thankfully, business insurance policies, standard policies, have a loss of income component. So that loss of income component will help sustain the income that business needs to, thrive and survive while they are maybe in a temporary location and they move back in and reopen. So that loss of income is paramount for the recovery of the business.
Yeah. So really, as you mentioned, right, and cash flow is king. As an entrepreneur, don't let anybody tell you it's not. And so if it's the insurance is not just worth it for replacing your building, but hey, if you don't have cash flow, it replaces your revenue and helps you sustain until you're able to get the business back up and running due to the loss. Is that correct?
Oh, absolutely. We had tornadoes in the western suburbs, I think maybe back in the late summer, and some of those businesses were completely destroyed. So you may be looking at a 12-month process. And the most important part is the owner and the employees depend on that income to sustain their families. So protecting a client's income is a huge component of business insurance.
Okay. Fantastic. I think it sounds like one of the most, and I think most people don't really, like I said, that's why I wanted you to talk about that a little bit more. Never really realize how important that coverage in their insurance policy actually is. So I'm thankful that you actually shared that so we can have a little bit more of a conversation about that. So I appreciate that, sir. All right, Charles. Well, hey, those are the predetermined questions, but I have some questions, a few questions from the community that I want to throw out you, and so we can discuss a little bit in more detail and you can give me your insight into this. And so the first question I have from you is from one of our community members, and they basically are asking, what do they need at the minimum in order to come in to get a business insurance policy?
That's a very good question. We will ask for any information that you utilized on the Secretary of State, either as a sole proprietor, a corporation, or LLC. Your business name, exactly as it appears on the Secretary of State, your tax ID, your business location, of course, your contact information, phone, email. Do you rent? Do you own? Square footage. We ask about the number of employees. We ask about projected revenue, again, loss of income. We ask about any leased equipment. Sometimes when you lease equipment for your business, the lessor wants to be protected as an additional insured. We ask about any business vehicles. We ask about, liability. We ask about group or life insurance needs, and we ask about workers' comp. In Illinois, it is mandatory. There's a $500 fine per day if you don't have workers' comp. And we also just educate them on other important things to consider, like employment practices and errors and omissions. Employment practices liability insurance will cover for like a claim for harassment, discrimination, improper termination. So we educate the client on their needs, and we work with them to address those needs one by one. So high level, those are the most important pieces of information. The beauty of what we do now is we can Google your business and get 75% of the information. We can log into the Secretary of State to make sure that everything is lining up. We can search it to make sure everything is accurate and correct. So the most important part is contact us and we can walk you through the steps on everything else.
Fantastic. Well, hey, I mean, it sounds like what you just said. It starts with a phone call to see. Is that typically standard for all businesses, or are there other businesses more complicated than others as far as getting them insured?
Yes. Your standard businesses are easy to insure. Some that may be more challenging are contractors because of the nature of their business. There are some transportation, logistic companies that may be a little bit challenging. There may be, restaurants with a certain percentage of liquor
Okay.
that we can help some, we can't help others. But the beauty of what I do is whenever I can't help you, I'm going to make sure that we find an insurance broker that can help my clients get what they need, even though I can't help. So we make sure that either we can help or we can educate you and point you in the right direction on maybe a niche insurance company that is, that's their specialty. So when I can't help, I find somebody that can. I typically give out 3 names.
All right, sounds good. That's a great practice. That's fantastic. Well, hey, thanks for answering that question. I think they'll be happy with that, the detailed information you provided on that one.